Welcome back, everybody. Let's do some drawing. Thought it'd be cool if we spent a little bit of time just doing a few portraits today. And just going over a few little characters that I don't think we've talked about yet on the channel. If you're just joining me and this is your first time here, welcome. And if you are an old subscriber or old friend of the channel, it's great to see you back. So, we're just going to do a few little characters from the board game that I'm very slowly designing, and have a little bit of a chat. And that's it, really. It's kind of the whole thing we do here. Try and keep it light and just nice and chilled. We don't really dive into anything dramatic here. We just draw and mumble and have a good natter. Alright, so we've seen Dorne a couple of times on the channel, so I don't know if there's much to chat about with her. Oh, terrible lip, look at that, it's popping out. She's sort of the original character in a lot of ways. And I think in terms of, which alignment she's on, which side she's on, I'd put her somewhere as, on the better half of the characters. I think she probably makes a lot of good choices. She's also a very old character in terms of the lore of the world and all that stuff. So she's quite a naturalist, and she wears a lot of camouflage. She wears this long garb, which is sort of a traditional wear within the world. It just keeps her safe from the elements and tries to keep a little bit hidden from the creatures that live here. A few years ago, she was in a comic book that I did, and it was really cool, actually. I just, fortunately, it was a very, very busy time in my life, and I didn't quite have enough time to dedicate more time to, I said time a lot of times then, didn't I? Didn't have enough space to dedicate a little bit more of myself into the story, and which was a shame, but, even though I'm still fairly busy, I find myself having a little bit more time these days. So, hopefully we can do Dorne justice and get this board game made so other people can play and experience sort of all the cool stuff that she can offer. Maybe, actually, it might be useful just to kind of go over what we've spoken about already on the channel, with a few little extra bits thrown in there. So yeah, the channel is mainly about exploring this idea of a board game and just meeting a nice community, really, which, without a doubt, I have met the nicest people in here. I've had some wonderful chats, some wonderful ideas, and yeah. And if you'll listen to this as you're drawing as well, or just taking a few minutes out of your day, then I hope it helps. It's a little bit of chill, a little bit of company. Alright. So make a few more details. Cool. So the game is set. Oh, I'm losing my voice. The game is set in a world which I'm calling at the moment the Wastes. And without spoiling too much, it's kind of a play on purgatory, I think. Oh, I really am losing my voice. Hang on, maybe it's tea time. That's what it was. It was definitely tea time. And in the Wastes, you play these characters, and At the moment, they're called lures, but without spoiling too much, we'll come back to why they're called lures. And they're a little bit special, all of them. I suppose it's kind of like when you play those, any game really, like any fantasy game, that you have these certain characters that seem to be able to fight against these abnormally large monsters, where the normal people would just instantly be eaten. You have that. And I suppose these are the heroes of the game. Though I think hero might be a bit of a strong word, because as we go through these characters, you'll see that not all of them are heroic. Actually, most of them are not. Okay. Nice. And that is Dorne completed. Cool. Next one, Pyre. Pyre is our fire starter character. I don't think we've talked about her at all. Have we? No, I don't think we have. So her whole kit is really around creating fire and doing area of effect attacks and damage over time. She's a cool character. Well, I think so anyway. She's got a lot of interesting abilities around sort of starting a spark, and once the spark's going, she can do a lot, but you have to be really careful because her ability will hurt everyone except for herself. She's got immunity to fire. So it's best, if you're working as a team, to give her a wide berth. Let her do her thing, So she wears this creepy garment, which is kind of like, I imagine it's kind of like one of those old school jesters, I don't know, there's something really creepy about the, the little tassels with the bells on and stuff. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if I've ever drawn anything that I generally think, oh, it's a bit creepy. I always think to myself, I've got to keep that in there, Because if I think it's creepy, then it's getting a cool reaction. Well, from me at least, What else can I talk about her? She's armored. She's got like a knight's armor on the inside underneath her garment, so I guess that's why she's resistant to fire. What else? She's sort of, I guess, just a traditional fire starter character. She'll be able to channel fire in a straight line. She'll be able to start it off in different areas away from her. She'll be able to apply burn, which is sort of a damage over time tick. So she's pretty good if she goes against one adversary or multiple, as long as she's got, good protection. She's got, I think, normal speed and slightly better armor than most. I'm not really sure what else to talk about. I have to do one of those little videos where I put all her ability tree next to her, and maybe that helped me spark, with my memory. Apologies for the pun. Can't help it sometimes. I feel like there should be something else here. Maybe it's just sort of the rips of a remaining one. Maybe she lost one of these weird little tassel things. Cool. Well, that's Pyre. Next, we'll go for Nilfa. We drew Nilfa not too long ago, and she's sort of demonic in appearance. She's got these wonderful long horns always found horns one of the most amazing things in the natural world. Aren't they cool? I think they're cool. Especially goats. Sorry, I'm going to try not to ramble about goats for 20 minutes. Although that would be detrimental to the channel. But then again, goats are cool. So her kit is around, oh no, we did a big video about this. I don't know, I don't think I need to go into too much, but she burrows. She tucks away into the ground to get away from foes and give herself a bit of a breathing room. And when she does that, she can appear pretty much anywhere as long as the earth will allow her to. So if it's hard stone, she won't be able to appear there. But anywhere else, she should be fine. Yeah. She's sort of a damage dealer character as well, so if you like the big damage, sort of the glass cannon-y sort of play style, this would be a good character, I think, to play. And she's got these, I don't think I did it justice in the last video, but her whole body sort of covered in these long, sort of bone-like protrusions that act kind of the same way as that Ground Boy does in that film Tremors. Absolute classic. Apologies when you go to watch it and it's actually kind of crap, but I love it. I think it's wonderful. Childhood film. But yeah, she's got these bone-like, almost like fins, I suppose, that power her through the ground. Tremendous speed. But again, kind of like the ground void, and kind of like creatures that live underground, sort of like moles. She doesn't rely on sight. She has to rely on different senses. So when you first start doing the tunneling ability before you upgrade it, you have to roll the D6. And because the arenas in the world is based on hexagons, you have 6 sides, and each number will relate to a direction. And as you upgrade it, you'll be able to say, well, okay, I can actually choose one direction. So you can roll before you choose, so you can kind of try and get into the right direction that you will need to go. Yeah, I think that's about it. Oh, she's got a big tail too. She's really cool. Not very happy with the mask I did here, but that's okay, we can move on. And that's Nilfa. Fun fact, Nilfa used to be a ranger character with a big wolf. So the next one, we'll do Ather, and we've talked about Ather quite a bit. Ather is sort of in a witch class, I guess. I don't know, she's kind of got druidic, druid powers. She can control roots and blight. So she can lower her foe's ability to heal themselves constantly, which is, really powerful. But her story is not a good one. She's very naughty, very dangerous. Also, one of the first characters that when I started making this years ago, she was one of the first ones. Actually, she was the first one to actually be play tested. And when she was first made, she had just an incredible amount of abilities. I think it was something ridiculous, like 55 or something like that, like different abilities on her ability tree, specifically to her. And eventually, she turned into multiple characters because there was no reason to have someone that had so much stuff, because I'm not that clever to make more, that many abilities for every single character. So I didn't. So instead she's got sort of the normal 16-ish. So yeah. Oh, this is going alright. The light that I'm using for well, that light over that way is so warm. My goodness. Well, I think tea was the wrong choice. Should have had some water. Anyway, so yeah, she's sort of a controlling character. She'll be able to. Well, every character can forage and gather stuff, but her specifically, she needs to gather even during battles to get ingredients to be able to use her little mini game to create the abilities to use. She'll have her own sort of kit, you know, the usual melee attacks and dodge and dash, and we'll talk about them at some point because they act a little bit different than other games. But yeah, you have to spend a lot of time getting in, doing the damage, doing your spells, and getting away enough so you can get enough ingredients to continue. I guess it's her way of gaining mana. I didn't want a resource that once you use, you're out of it, you know. Hate that. So I think I've made a bit of a system where it feels sensible and doesn't feel like, you know, you penalized for using a magic class. Which some games, I feel, do that. Right, that's Ayla. I have loads to talk about her, I just realised. Anyway, we'll carry on. So here we are, Herlove. He's the berserker character, and his whole kit is around be able to push himself more than most. So pretty much his little mini game is he can have I think it's a risk reward sort of system where you can wager how much flesh, your character's HP, you are willing to put on the line to gamble to do more damage the next roll. So his whole kit is about, you know, pushing yourself. You know, I think thematically it kind of works out quite well with the system in place for the dice rolling, because it feels like, you know, that's exactly what you're doing on the battlefield. You know, you're pushing yourself further and further to try and get, you know, to survive really, but at the same time you have to be careful not to push yourself too much, otherwise you can end up knocking yourself out. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's so much I need to talk about actually. Also, like how does one heal yourself and the different actions you can do during the day and how all that works. Oh, there is a lot to go through. I need to write this down and maybe we have to do a whole proper video about it. Just the mechanics. I mean, I could go through it roughly now. That might be useful, but you have 4 times of day. A day is a cycle, but it's not so much, you know, a 24-hour thing. It's sort of time is relevant sort of thing going on. So if you want to spend one quarter of the day, so dawn, not that dawn, another dawn, you want to spend dawn foraging and hunting, you can, and that will have its own little, you know, mechanic around, you know, you going off into the world and doing that. And then if you wanted to explore, that would be another quarter of the day. You know what, we'll do this another time. It's too much to go on, and because I'm concentrating, nailed it. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Still not quite at the point I feel 100% comfortable chatting and drawing. I mean, I am comfortable. It's very nice. Talk to myself a lot anyway. But concentrating on what I'm actually drawing and making sure I'm saying the right thing. It's a bit of a skill. I did think about in the future videos to draw far more detailed ones, because eventually I'm going to have to start drawing the actual artwork for the board game. I've done a few little bits, and I think my first video I showed sort of the dot work idea I've had for drawing Vigo, this chap, and you know, it's a really cool way of drawing and it's really fun, but I'm not sure how well dot work will look in the final piece, so maybe it will just be all done by hand. Anyway, what I was talking about, drawing the final pieces, but might have to speed them up because I am a slow drawer when it comes to the the big pieces. So speed it up and then do a voiceover. Maybe that'll work. I'm not sure. And then Vigo, who originally was named Clifford because I thought it was funny, is no longer called Clifford. And I think secretly it's my favourite character. Vigo is a disreputable, putrid creature, and the origins are wonderful and dark and creepy, and I'm really looking forward to sort of doing more about the character in general, because he is a lot of fun to draw every time. Just sort of a mess of robes and rags and mushrooms and insects and other creepy crawly things. Yeah. And we talked about a little bit of him in detail, and basically his kit is controlling a small army of homunculi. These strange little, almost rat-like people. And because he's such a slow creature, the homunculi sort of act as, sort of in a sense, a strange mini, like, what's these games called? Like a real-time strategy sort of thing where you control multiple things. Oh, I can't think of the word. Anyway, you have to control these little homunculi creatures, and so they go off and do your bidding at the same time as you're controlling Vigo. So that's his mini game. It's sort of I think it's my favourite one, and I always thought maybe everyone needs a homunculi, and then give Vigo something else, because it's such a wonderfully interesting. I don't even know what I was going to say. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, So yeah, he's a fun, creepy character. And I could talk about the rooms and the half ship. The half ship is this large mechanical structure, kind of like a massive woodlouse. It's like a massive woodlouse. And I know it sounds really weird. I know. And you are on board this thing, and when you have your characters, you upgrade the rooms and you choose which rooms you can have. You can only have so many. I haven't quite figured out how many you should be able to have, because it will change between 1 player, 2 player, etc. Just so it's not overpowered and you're not ever underpowered. And one of the rooms that you really need to get if you play with Vigo with other characters is his birdcage. And essentially, if you don't have the cage for him to stay in during the night, he will wake up and he will do damage to the ship. So even though he's a wonderful and very powerful and useful character, apart from being a bit slow, he's a bit of a liability. And thematically, I think that works quite well. Yeah. There we go. How's that? So we got 6 characters. I think it's about 4 or 5 more. So maybe we can carry them on. There's a little bit of space over here, so maybe we can get another one there, and sneak a couple down here, maybe. Yeah. So anyway, oh, I forgot. We're nearly at 300 subscribers, which is amazing. So thank you to each and every one of you for making this happen so incredibly quick. It's bizarrely wonderful. I've got a poll, a little post on my page set for the 300 subscribers, the special, with a couple of suggestions. If you have any ideas, I don't know what that pen's doing this all the time, but if you have any suggestions or you want to vote, please jump over and vote, because I'd love to see what happens. I've got ink in my finger now. Ugh. But anyway, that'll do. Have a great night. Take care. Bye.